I wanted to include this sketchbook and samples from assignment 2 in learning objective 2 because I think it demonstrates my exploration of materials, found materials, making new materials from old, and also a range of textile contexts, both design contexts and fine art contexts. It's basically hopefully demonstrates the breadth of ideas and understanding that I have, and the kind of ideas that I chose not to pursue, as well as the origins of some that I did. So this section is on transforming materials and working with packaging here, reclaimed wire and plastic packaging, looking at reclaimed screws and wall plugs, again wire, to look at ways of making this expressive. This related really to my investigation of Susie McMurray's work, but also how these basically non-expressive materials could be used in a fine art context and with textile processes to become quite expressive. Here I looked at weaving, stitching, punching and different textile processes, again with plastic packaging and with reclaimed wire, with a view to looking at whether these materials had these inherent properties that we could exploit. In this section I was looking at melting plastics. There's some dog waste bags and other packaging in here, and again trying to make them sculptural, trying to give them expressive qualities. And I really like this. This really led into some of my later work in 3D form. Here again, this is melting plastics together and trying it with stitch. This is different packaging and dog waste bags. Really looking at the potential for plastics as a textile material and how they could be blended together. Similarly here, pushing the material to the sort of extremes and limits, noticing how it curls up and becomes three-dimensional. So although I didn't go on and use plastics in my work later on in contemporary practice, this really informed my understanding of materials and what I personally wanted to work with, as well as what I didn't. And the other element I worked on was reclaiming textiles and how we could use found textiles as a new textile material and reform them. So this is overdying using wax resist, trying to think about ways of transforming textile materials really. And I did go on and use quite a bit of this in terms of the types of lines and things that are here in my later work. And finally I looked at cyanotype, and this is using found materials to create these sort of expressive images. And so hopefully that demonstrates really a range of textile contexts. Some of that could have been taken off into design areas, some of it's quite clearly fine art, but hopefully that demonstrates some of the breadth of what I've done and some of the colour and range of materials, when some of my other work that I've submitted is quite brown and muddy and fine art.